Star Trek Legends. What is this game on? How do you play this game? You probably haven't even heard of this game. We'll forego with the usual labored metaphors and history lessons that precede a lot of YouTube reviews and dive right into dissecting what this game is. Welcome to the bridge of the USS Artemis. It may seem like there's a lot on screen right now, but that's why we're going to walk through what each one of these icons on screen is for. But before we do that, let's address exactly how I'm playing this game. Now, this is a game developed exclusively for iOS. That doesn't necessarily make this a phone game. I am playing this game with an Xbox One gamepad, I'm playing it on my television with an Apple TV 4K, and I'm playing it via a subscription to Apple Arcade. I find very little difference between playing that way and playing a game on my Xbox One X using Xbox Game Pass. The idea of never being able to fully purchase and own this game doesn't sit well with me, but that's a conversation for another time. And I'm sure a lot of feathers are going to be ruffled by referring to the Apple TV as a game console, but there's a game installed on it, I turn a controller on, I play the game on my television. That's a game console, that's where we're at. Now, the first section I want to talk about is actually not on the screen right now, and that's because as you play, that section is removed from the main screen. Luckily, I have some old footage. I don't know why I have it, but luckily I do. Directive. It's kind of difficult to call this a tutorial. It's more of a tour. It just kind of gives you resources for exploring different sections and completing objectives. It's a kind of awful tour guide. It doesn't really tell you how to play the game. It doesn't go into the nuances of it. Go ahead and do those directives, but don't expect to learn a whole lot from doing them. The crew section. This is the star of the show. This is why you're going to want to play this game. All of the characters from Star Trek that you know and love. Characters in color are characters that you have acquired. Characters in black and white have yet to be acquired, but you can view the entire roster of 61 characters from this screen. We've got representation from all of the major series here, even Enterprise. But I think 61 might have been shooting a little low for the character roster. I mean, we have Quark, but where's Kahless? We have the Gorn, but where's Weyoun? Where are the Jem'Hadar? Where's O'Brien? Where's Guinan? I think 75 would have been a better stopping point for the character roster. It would have given just enough wiggle room to get a lot of those classic characters that are missing right now onto the roster. With that said, let's look a little deeper into one of these characters. Let's check out Wharf here. On the left side of the screen, you're going to see 4 different moves. Those are Wharf's moves that can be used in battle. Some people only have 3 though. Each one of these moves can be either unlocked or leveled up to level 2 once they've been unlocked. Here you can see his Batleth Strike, when leveled to level 2, does more damage and has a higher chance of wounding the opponent. The 4 circles surrounding Wharf represent areas that you can equip gear. Once you equip a piece of gear to a slot, it cannot be removed, it can only be replaced with a different piece of gear. They can also be leveled up and ranked up for rarity. Here we have an example of a communicator at level 3. We can level that up once, level it up again to level 5, and once the piece of gear has hit level 5, the next option is to rank it up using different materials, which will increase the rarity from common to rare. Depending on the piece of gear, you can go higher than rare. This particular piece of gear is now maxed out. This is where tokens are used. Tokens can be used to rank up a character, which translates to a modest stat boost. As characters reach higher ranks, more tokens are required to rank them up. Most of the tokens that you acquire are going to be from summoning duplicates in the summoning chamber, which makes me think that this rank system is really a way to throw you a bone when you feel like you've been screwed by getting too many duplicates in a row. And there's that modest stat boost that we talked about. It's a lot better than getting nothing for summoning duplicates, so I'm a fan of the rank system, although it might seem a little bit underwhelming. And back to Wharf, here we have the information section. The information section does not scroll with the gamepad, so you can't even see it. It's one of many bugs, and we're going to address those later. Underneath the eye for information are particles. Particles are similar to gear. They can be leveled up, but they can also be equipped and unequipped, which might make them seem like a better investment, but they use different resources for their upgrades, so you don't have to choose one or the other. Here you can see that these particles will unlock new buffs at level 2, and rarer particles will have more buffs to unlock at higher levels, so keep your eyes peeled for rare particles to buy. And that takes us to Enhance. Enhancing your character is really just dumping experience points onto them using items. This can be useful when you have a new character that you want to add to your away team and they are a few levels behind what your current away team is at. And level ups give much better stat boosts than rank ups. Missions. Missions are in effect the story mode for this game. The story is always told from the perspective of Bones, Wharf, and Michael, regardless of what characters you have selected for your away team. You can see on the left it says catastrophic risk level. That risk level will change as you add more people to your away team because the risk level is calculated by your team's overall power. And underneath the overall power in the center there, you can see the specialized powers. We have command, engineering, science, medical, and security. Those specializations will become relevant in just a minute as we explore all the different types of encounters that you may run into on a mission. So here's our team, let's send them. Now the first type of encounter is Intel. An Intel encounter is essentially just story advancement. Typically it's just the characters either talking to people they've met or discussing amongst themselves what's going to happen next. The writing is actually really on brand for each character. You can tell that the people who wrote the dialogue for all these characters really were Star Trek fans. You can practically hear them saying these lines sometimes, especially Bones. Bones is just excellent. All of his stuff is great. Would I have liked to have seen the away team change the dialogue? Sure, but what's here now is fine. That would have been a severe time investment. The next type of encounter is combat. Combat encounters make up the brunt of what most of your encounters are going to be on each mission. Your team does not heal between combat encounters, and if you lose a member of your away team during a combat encounter, you have to complete the rest of the mission without them. And I'm actually impressed by the depth of the battle system. There's an interesting morale system at play. High morale can provide you with additional opportunities to attack during your turn and can also cause enemies to flee if you drop their morale low enough. There's also randomized cover during each battle. As you can see here, Wharf has a rock to hide behind. These sound like small things, but in the grand scheme of this whole combat system, everything just works. Any less complicated and it might have felt dumbed down, but any more complex and it would have felt out of place in what is otherwise a fairly casual game. So it really is just right. I commend Tilting Point for nailing the combat in this game. And the game also doesn't waste your time. For encounters that you know that you can just breeze through, and you really don't need to worry about losing much during, you can crank the speed to up to 4 times its current speed, and you can also let the battle autoplay where the computer takes control of your team. The computer is not the smartest in the world, it doesn't make the best decisions always, but it's certainly more than enough for when you are overwhelmingly overpowered and just want to get through the fight. It really does show that the developers had a respect for your time. So let's take a quick look at one of those right now, just so you can see how quickly those battles can go. And there it is. You can see that Michael took more damage than she probably would have taken if I'd done it myself, but I can just heal her at the start of the next battle. It's totally worth it. The next encounter we're going to focus on is Explore. An Explore encounter will usually have some dialogue, some story movement, and then will present you with a few choices on what to do next. Some of these choices can be influenced by who is on your away team and how good they are at their job. So what we're going to see here now is that we have 3 options. We can hack the beacon if we have somebody that possesses 545 engineering, we can leave for free if you want to call it free, or we can heal the survivors if we have a medic that has 545 medic power. Once we've finished this mission, we can come back and do the mission over again and try different alternative routes, and you can gain additional rewards for completing each mission with 100% of the possible routes explored. And with that decision made, we head back to the main screen. You can see the different branching paths that have been blocked off, and we see a resource encounter. A resource encounter is just a box of free stuff. That's really it. Open it up, take the stuff, move on to the next spot. And those are the 4 types of encounters. That's what every single mission is. And if you're really lucky, you might get to see one of these.
They hear a harsh, mechanical language from the apparition, impossibly alien. What appears to be a limb points toward the artifact in their possession.
They're just minimally animated, kinda lame cutscenes. I would have much rather seen in-engine cutscenes using the 3D models they had already made, but this is what we got. So to summarize, I would say that I do enjoy the story mode of this game. I think it has just enough depth to remain engaging. I think the characters are well written. The story is, you know, off the wall, but Star Trek in general is known for having off the wall stories, and they kind of needed a bizarre one to find a way to link all of these different characters from all of the different Star Trek universes together. And on top of that, the multiple routes mean that there's a lot of replayability in the missions. You'll probably find yourself replaying them to get that 100%. And with the ability to speed up battles the way that you can, it really doesn't feel like a slog. It always feels fun. And who doesn't want to see Bones engage with the Borg Queen? Dream come true, right? Let's head back to the bridge to check out the next section. Summoning. This is one of the most fun sections. When you first enter this area, you're going to see one catch-all summon called Crew. That will summon anybody that you've unlocked for summoning from the game. But as you progress, you're going to unlock targeted summoning. So now you can summon somebody specifically from command, science, engineering, medical, or security. Hitting the information button above one of the summon categories will show you the chances of summoning a character. You can see that a lot of the crew is common, then a few rares, a couple of very rares, and at the very bottom we're going to see epic and legendary characters. It's important to note that you can only summon characters that you have unlocked to be available for summoning. So it might be worth hanging on to some of your summoning orbs until more characters become available to you. Let's try to get Beverly Crusher, so let's pop into the medic category. And you can see at the top here it says summon type crew because this game is full of bugs, and there's another one. And we've got a 20% chance of getting ourselves Beverly. You'll also notice that a targeted summon costs a little bit more than a crew summon. You're going to spend 25 extra orbs to target a job if you want to, instead of doing the catch-all. So let's do a crew summon here and just see who we end up with. Alright, we got Bones. And like I said earlier, that gave us 10 tokens, so now we can rank Bones up. But let's do a targeted summon now. Let's do a medic summon and see if we can get Beverly. Who? Yes. Just soaking it in. Alright, we're on a roll. Let's do a couple more. Alright. Now we're talking. Odo, I'll take it. Hard pass on this one. Okay, lucky streak's over. Let's go do something else. The bridge. This is where you will decide who sits on the bridge of the USS Artemis. The thing with this is that it really is mostly just for combat buffs. You can see here that each different person sitting at each different station provides a different benefit for combat scenarios. So here we have Wharf, and he gives us 5% attack for Klingons. Wharf is the only Klingon that I'm really using, so if I wanted to swap him out for, say, Riker and give everybody 3% health, I could do that, and now all of my characters in combat have an extra 3% health. For the most part though, I'm using this just to put people on the bridge that I like to look at. The buffs aren't that crazy, and it's better to... Okay, alright, yeah, let's replace her with Wharf. Let's get Wharf back in there. First Officer Wharf, how does it feel, buddy? There you go. Now, strangely enough, the job of the character, you know, security, engineering, command, doesn't decide where they can sit. As you can see here, I have command officers, but there's nobody for the captain's chair. The information button in the bottom right will show you a list of all the people on your bridge, but you can't scroll it because it doesn't work because it's bugged. Shuttle missions are a way to earn passive experience points, latinum, and resources when you're not playing the game. Each shuttle mission has its own duration. The longer the mission, the higher the gains. They also have jackpot prizes that have a percentage chance of being discovered on the mission, depending on the strength of your team. You can send 1 to 4 people on each one of these missions, and there's kind of a balancing act that happens here, because if you send your strongest people, they're going to be out of commission for however long the shuttle mission takes, which means that you can't take them on story missions or use them in any other part of the game while they're away on a shuttle mission. But you also sort of want to use your weaker characters to get them some experience points on the missions. But using weaker characters also reduces your jackpot probability. Now the jackpot's a whole other issue. If you look in the top left here, you can see that the jackpot probability is at 31% with this particular team. So I send them, and on the next screen, 27, I don't know what's going on here. Maybe it's a percentage of a percentage, but the game doesn't explain it, so there's no way to really know. Let's jump ahead in time and we'll collect the reward from one of our missions. So here we are, mission success. We did not get the jackpot, but you can see Data's levels are shooting up. It looks like Data gained a total of 6 levels on that mission. And that's really all there is to the shuttle missions. Operations. These are limited time events with limited chances per day to participate in those events. Some of the events will award you event points that can be cashed in for prizes depending on how many you accumulate. Other events occur weekly no matter what and just give you resources. Here we have the Borg Queen event, the Borg Incursion. So we hit that, and you can see that some of these battles have 3 medals underneath them. That means that I finished the battle with every member of my party surviving. If you finish the battle and 1 or more members of your party do not survive, you receive less medals and you also receive less event points. Let's try one out real quick. Yeah, these are actually pretty hard. And that takes us to the events page. The events page is kind of a strange place. This is where you cash in your operations points to collect your rewards. There's really no reason that this page needs to exist at all. This could have just as easily been rolled in to the operations page and let you collect your rewards right there where the operations are happening. So I don't know why this is here. I guess it gives you a peek at future events like Odo's coming up in a day. It just doesn't make sense to me why they needed a separate section for this. So let's see, the Borg event, I have 132 points. I need 150 if I want to get the next prize. So let's head back to the operations section and get those last few points. We can actually hit this button right here and it will take us directly to the event that we need to be in. And here we are, we're back again. Let's give it a shot. Let's try an easier one just to get those few points that we need. Points. All right. Now we head all the way back to the events page, pop on down to the event that we just did, and collect our reward, 50 orbs. And that's how it goes. Again, it's strange, it's unnecessary, it's sloppy. They should get rid of this section. Daily is where you are expected to check in every day and collect some orbs. Every day that you check in without missing a day, you get a little bit more orbs than you did last time. It's just a way to keep you hooked. Here, let's collect our orbs for today. 40 orbs. That really is it. Alright, what else we got to cover? I guess the top right is your Latinum. I can't for the life of me imagine why you would need to see this at all times on the bridge, but there that is. Top left is your profile and your options. We can check that out. Here you can see my favorite crew, which is not my favorite crew, it's just the last crew that I use, so that doesn't work. A couple more stats about your gameplay. In here you can set your music, your sound effects, all that stuff. I don't like that the delete all data and delete save file options are right there next to the main menu button, because you will be using that main menu button when the game inevitably glitches on you and you have to exit and come back in again. So what do we do with all this Latinum now? Take it to the store, well, the shop. Quark's shop to be exact. It actually took me a few minutes when I first got in here to realize that there was no way to buy Quark, and that he was in fact the proprietor of the in-game store. Quark's store takes only Latinum and Alliance crystals, and every day there's a daily special as well as 3 different options for character tokens. I haven't seen the daily special refresh in several days now, which is kinda strange. Also, when you go to buy tokens for characters, it calls them shards. You can see it right here, shards available 3. I mean, is it shards, is it tokens? It's just more overlooked sloppiness in this game. It really needed a once-over. So, you get 1 token at a time when you buy them. I thought maybe I'd get 10, I wasn't so lucky. Crew, this section includes biogels as well as protomatter, which will let you upgrade people's attacks and abilities. You'll see that scrolling all the way to the right doesn't even reveal the full picture of the far right protomatter. I mean, for God's sakes, guys, it's just so messy in here. Particles is where you can buy particles. Keep your eye out for rarer particles, because once you have access to the more rare particles, there's literally no reason to ever buy the lesser particles ever again. It just makes them kind of clutter, and I feel like maybe they should just be eliminated from the store once you've upgraded your level far enough to get the more advanced particles. Gear is where you can buy gear for your characters. They are divided by job. And then down in the Alliance section is where you can trade in Alliance crystals to get some bizarre stuff, like 1 token for 7 of 9, an emote. But let's talk more about those Alliance crystals now. Let's go explore how to get those. The Alliance screen. Now, the Alliance screen is where you can invite your friends to become part of an alliance, and you can all partake in taking down large ships by attacking different points on that ship in a specified time period. I don't have enough people in my alliance to take one of these down yet, but I can still show you how it works generally. This is where you'll select your team and which part of the ship you're going to attack. I'm going to attack the deflector control, and you can see I've attacked it 16 times already, 16 out of 25, and I'm going to spend 1 of these chips to battle it. The battle isn't particularly hard, and now I have 1 more point. Down at the bottom you can see 17. If I have 50 points, I'll get 250 of those crystals. And you can see at the top of the screen that it looks like you get more of those green chips once every day. So you get 5 chances per day to attack, so you really do need a pretty large squad to take one of these ships down in the amount of time that they allot you. PvP. There it is. So PvP might be a little bit misleading. Oh, see, here's a new bug. Manage notification settings. I'm on an Apple TV. I don't have notification settings. We can head down to rankings and we can see what the top people in the game are right now. God, that top guy is way ahead. The logs, I have no battle logs. I should have some because I have played arena battles. We can head down to the daily replicator and see what the prizes are for each league rank. As we scroll through this, you'll see that they've paid 0 attention to the readability or aesthetics of how this looks. It's just awful. It doesn't line up properly with the screen. I mean, come on, guys. It's just, that doesn't seem that difficult. It really doesn't. So we can go ahead in here. We have 5 of those pink chips. We use 1 of those to battle in PvP. Now, the PvP enemies are not controlled by humans. I'm assuming that they're characters randomly chosen from other people's rosters, I think, but the teams themselves are going to be controlled by the computer. I mean, it makes battles a lot faster, obviously, but yeah, you're not actually playing against real people. So there's our rewards. We get a little bit of a rank up. We get some of our chest rewards. 11 of those canisters. Ugh. More notification settings. Can see at the bottom there, we don't have quite enough for a daily replicator yet, so let's do another battle. At the top, for some reason, it still says 5 out of 5, even though we just had a battle. Let's do a quick one, though, and get some more points and try to open a chest. Later, Riker. Alright, now we have enough to collect our replicator. Let's go down and grab it and see what's inside. 200 Latinum, and a particle that kind of sucks. These prizes get better as you rank up. I'm still at the lower levels of PvP. And that's really all there is to it. It's fine, it just needs polish. Like, I mean, the whole game needs polish. Here's a fun little category, goals. In here, you have both daily goals and achievements. And achievements are just longer term goals with better prizes. Here, we'll take a quick look at the achievements list. Complete episode 4, complete 50 summons, reach Silver League. a lot of these are just going to take a while, but they also come with characters, which is a pretty good prize if you haven't already unlocked them in the summoning chamber. And then here, the daily goals. If you complete all of these within a 24-hour period, you'll receive a final reward, which from what I've seen is usually just a lot of orbs. Here, let's jump ahead to when I'd completed all of these one day and recorded some footage. Alright, let's claim this last one. 20 orbs. And now we'll have access to the final reward of the day, which is orbs. I mean, orbs are cool, don't get me wrong. Might be nice to rotate this every now and then, but I'll take the orbs for now. And here, just for kicks, let's go claim an achievement also. Looks like we've got 20,000 Latinum and a spot coming to us. Fork it over. There he is. So that's that. We've been over the entire game. But before I deliver my final thoughts, I think there's one more thing that needs mentioning. This game is simply unfinished.
So weak. So weak.
Yeah, this game has a lot of problems. The interface is clearly unfinished. There are points of data that you are never going to be able to see playing this on your Apple TV because the contents of the window simply won't scroll up or down. The controller, in certain circumstances and certain windows, will just completely stop responding, and you'll be forced to close the game using your Apple TV remote and reopen it. Look here, the bridge is completely empty. Even though it's fully staffed, visually, there's nobody on it. But that's just a visual bug. The real problems with this game go much deeper than that. Here's a really good example. In this mission, you are presented with a series of options. It's one of the exploration missions. As with many of these, there's dialogue beforehand. So as you're hitting A to advance each next window of dialogue, when you get to the doctor, hitting A one time to advance his dialogue automatically selects the center option. So if you want to try the other options in this mission, you have to hit B to skip all the dialogue and then make your selection. And that's on top of all the other bugs that you've seen just watching this video. You can trust me that there are many more that you haven't seen here. And this is coming from a game with controller support available, proudly displayed in the main menu. Controller support's actually mandatory if you're playing this on an Apple TV. This is just unacceptable. So where does this leave us? Well, I'm going to continue playing this game. I'm enjoying it. Do the bugs frustrate me? Absolutely, they do. But I'm willing to endure these growing pains with the hope that the game will continue to improve. There's absolutely no reason for me to believe that it definitely will, but I hope that it will. I mean, this game doesn't even communicate the basics of how it works to the player in any really effective way. The best you're going to get are tips on the loading screens. That's how I learned that being hit by a Borg assimilation attack 3 times in a row will take away half your maximum HP. Cleanse removes negative buffs from your characters. Purge removes positive buffs from enemies. Scan will produce a critical attack on the scanned enemy on the next turn. I think? The game doesn't tell you these things. Loading screens are not an appropriate way to communicate game mechanics to your players. They just aren't. Tilting Point, do better than this, because you have a good product here. You just have to make sure that people know how to play it. But I have hope for this game. I don't know why, but I do. I want to see more characters. I want to see more missions. I want to see the interface tightened up and the bugs squashed. I want this to become a great Trek game. Right now, it's a good one. And if you're a fan of Star Trek, any era, you'll probably find something to like here. And there are absolutely no microtransactions in this game. None. And that's really refreshing because this game very easily could have gone down that road if it wanted to. Very easily. All of your progress will come from playing, not from buying. As for the technical aspects and artistic aspects, the exaggerated features on the models, I like it. It works for this type of game, which is a little less serious. The music is generally unobtrusive, inoffensive. It feels Star Trek-ish. You know, it has that grandiose, explorative a vibe to it. The frame rate chugs a little bit here and there, which is never really a deal breaker. It's not a game that requires a super smooth frame rate, but it'd still be nice to see that ironed out, and it could use some anti-aliasing, just anything. So yeah, frame rate, anti-aliasing, but for the most part, I'm pretty happy with how it looks and how it sounds. You've seen and heard most of it just by watching this review. So that's it. If you got the stomach for some bugs, it's worth a play, especially if you're a Trek fan. I think you'll probably have a good time with it. I'm really hoping that at some point in the future, I can make a follow-up video outlining all of the new improvements and additions to this game. That's my hope for the future. But until then, adios and thanks for watching.